Hey, this is Steve Dollar, our artistic director of the Tallahassee Film Festival. Very pleased to be here this morning with Daniel Kremer, the man behind it's a Zabriskie Point. I think the most unusual and original film we're showing at the festival, which happens Labor Day weekend. Um, Film will be showing first thing Saturday morning at Cap City Video Lounge. Daniel, welcome. Thank you so much for taking some time to chat with us.
Yeah.
Um, wanted first off just to yeah, just ask you where did all this come from? What tell us about the project and how it kind of percolated out of your mind.
I guess not to begin on a name dropping note, but I was having lunch with Joe Dante, and I had brought up to him the idea that I had during the lockdown in back in 2020 that I thought it would be fun to edit, uh, do a kind of an edit mashup of Zabriskie Point and Mad Mad World because they were both in the desert, and it would be kind of funny. And I guess he had a friend doing something similar at the time with the airport movies. And he said if you were to do that into like a little short film, we would feature it on the Trailers from Hell site, which I'm one of the Trailers from Hell gurus. For those who don't know, that's a great site with a lot of great people introducing you to often to movies that you've never heard of. And I said sure, and then I began to do just that, and I began to notice that I could there were ways that I could not expand just in terms of the clips from just those films, but talk about what the mashup of those two movies really meant, because I began to take notice as a film historian, which is what my main day job is, I guess you might say, of you know Mad World being the last film made um, of the of, I guess of the Camelot era, the last one of the last films released leading up to the assassination of JFK, and then watching that kind of the trajectory from there go into Blow Up, which is really about playing the Zapruder film over and over again. It's about this guy looking at these same still photos over and over again in order to detect the crime, the nature of the crime, and then leading up to Zabriskie, I was like, oh wow, I could construct a full essay film around the ideas here, and then feature other films that kind of build my argument. And that's kind of how it all happened. And also going back into the archive, I was the subject of a documentary when I was about 12 years old about stuttering, and that movie is called Danny and the Scatman, which is directed by the great Peter Nix, who's since gone on to great
Oh yeah.
fortune as a documentary filmmaker. I've known Pete for, it's crazy, over 25 years at this point. And I asked Pete, I know that you filmed me at the age of 12, getting my VHS of Zabriskie Point out, and and you filmed me watching it. Could I go back into your archives and find that material and use it in this thing? He said sure, and I did. I found that, and I gave it a kind of personal dimension on top of all the other essay stuff. And so I figured that I would resolve the film, or conclude the film with this personal side of the whole affair. So that's
Yeah,
kind of
that
how.
that was fascinating. I mean, I guess people will see it in the movie, but could you kind of give me a kind of thumbnail version of that situation of how so Zabriskie Point was therapeutic in a way for you?
Well, I was a very introverted, I guess painfully introverted, quiet, very severely stuttering child. And much like Joe Biden, whom I happened to meet when I was a kid,
Mhm.
who was one of the keynotes at this conference that my mother and I attended every year. And I cinema, I got to be a cinemaniac, kind of retreating from the social world and uh, just kind of becoming this movie encyclopedia, watching as many films as I could, reading nonstop about film and various either textbooks or books in general, um, you know, critical guides and critics and their writings. So Zabriskie, I don't know why I held a very special place in my heart then and now, and really the mystique of the desert and what the desert means, and I guess in American cinema in general, but culturally what it means, how it has signified both the culture and the counterculture throughout all its years, and um, I so that fascination the movie kind of goes into began at that age of like why am I so attracted to the desert, as a number of great filmmakers, both American and from outside America, when a lot of foreign directors when they've come to America have gone right to the desert to make their first American films. So I kind of want to I went into why that is, or why I think that is, what the whole well, yeah, why kind of what the whole mystique of the desert, what the desert means, what people have done with it, and how it relates to this idea of culture and counterculture, and how Zabriskie Point was the last film, as I said, of that innocent time of the more I guess cosmetically at least innocent, and then leading up to Zabriskie Point when we were shedding all of that. So it's kind of these are kind of heady concepts.
Yeah,
I'm not doing them justice. I think they'll make much more sense in the film. But yeah,
yeah, yeah. What was it like? I mean, God, how many times did you watch It's a Mad, 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 Mad World?
from the time I was a child, I can't count.
Yeah.
Not as many as Michael Schlesinger, but no. Uh, Michael, of course, is the Mr. I'm sorry, he was Mr. Mad, 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 Mad World. He's the biggest fan of that movie I think that exists, and is one of the biggest historians on that one film. So yeah.
Um, I guess for people who might not be familiar, maybe generationally, something like It's a Mad, 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 Mad World just could even be forgotten by today's kids, wouldn't really know about it. But what can you tell me about what that was like to watch, as a kid and what it represented? I mean, I know you talked about the Camelot era, but it's just a sort of mega all-star farce.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, I also wanted to quickly mention people who have seen neither Zabriskie Point nor Mad Mad World have sat in on the film, and they have no problem, getting into it,
Yeah.
penetrating it. I think it's mostly accessible to people if you just have an open mind. I don't think you need to have seen either. But yeah, I mean, Mad Mad World emerges from an era when the All Star Roadshow epic era, where films were more and more heading into spectacle territory, and setting up camp there, I guess you might say. A lot of I mean, this of course being the comedy to end all comedies as they build it, but also there were
The comedy to end comedy.
there were also the war epics, the religious epics. There were all kinds of epics that were kind
Hmm.
of what we now know as tentpole movies, which are tentpoles are now mostly comic book movies. But then they were big event movies where you get a program. There would be assigned reserved seating, and people would dress up as if they were going to the theater. and the roadshow era continued on from there, but and it kind of petered out towards the end of the 60s, heading into the early 70s. But um, we've had a couple since then, but really the era of the roadshow spectacle, I guess, and how movies were big events where you would actually treat it like you were going to like a Broadway play. And Zabriskie, by the time we get there, the movies were a little scrappier, a little more about normal people living their day-to-day lives. Doris Day didn't wake up with perfect hair anymore at that point in history, so uh, there therein lies the difference. So what happened in the middle of all that is kind of what the film examines.
Yeah.
In one dimension, there are other dimensions as well.
Yeah. Finally, as I wrap up, I mean, this is a kind of it's a documentary in the sense that it's nonfiction and it's about stuff, but it's also very specifically a kind of cinematic essay film, which is a form that percolates around. In a sense, you could look at something like Los Angeles Plays Itself as a classic example. There's also those, I guess Mark Cousins series that are on streaming, the story of film, etc. What
And
role?
I was gonna say, LA Plays Itself is really the I Ching
Yeah,
of all cine-essay films. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I was kind of, what's your relationship with that? I mean, obviously in your work, I guess you're like editor, historian, producer. What you mentioned Los Angeles Plays Itself, but I mean, like, how did those, or were there particular ones that helped to kind of shape your perspective on making that kind of film, and what sort of what's something that cine essay films can achieve, with the format?
I think we're in a golden era for the essay form, because the video essay now is kind of this form that has emerged, that's gotten more and more popular as the years have worn on. And there are a lot of great people, really brilliant people doing them now. And of course, the one that I go to is that was really inspirational for me, was one by a young, younger-ish guy, like I guess like myself, Scout Tafoya's Beata Virgo Viscera, which is available to watch for free via rogerebert.com. And that one was very formative in the way that, because he took basically the concept of the 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 small town airports in the classic films of Howard Hawks, for instance, and uh, Douglas Sirk and everything else, and he turned that into this broader themed essay about what, I guess, this portrait of America as well. So like kind of another portrait of this country through cinema, beginning with what was originally, I guess, a more core contained concept, and then like watching it kind of splay out from itself.
What's it called again?
So Beata Virgo Viscera.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
maybe not the easiest title to. Yeah, you could find it if you look up
Okay.
Scout Tafoya, Roger Ebert. Maybe if you don't know how to spell that, I could easily spell, but look up airports with his
Yeah,
name.
that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, that was also another very formative one, along with Los Angeles Plays Itself. But I mean, really, I mean, if you look at a lot of the boutique video labels putting out Blu-rays these days, many of them feature wonderful video essay pieces from a
Hmm.
great. I'm among them. I'm lucky to be doing this as a mainline, and I've gotten to examine a great number of films and filmmakers that way, and I feel like I've gotten to understand them further myself through, making edit selects and plumbing through their the whole of the picture, finding
Mm.
the edit selection. When I find I've gotten kind of intimate with these works. I'm doing one now on a very lesser known esoteric filmmaker by the name of Silvio Nerzano, and I feel very intimate right now with his films
Mhm.
because I had to comb through all of them uh, you know intensively that I feel, and then I'm trying to merge that. I'm very excited by the essay format because I think we've just begun to discover its potential,
Mhm.
uh, what that form offers. I think many have done great work already. I think we, like Akira Kurosawa said, I've only begun to understand cinema, and he was an elder gentleman at that
Yeah,
point. I feel like we've only begun to tap into the potential of the essay format on film.
great, great. Well, thanks so much, and thanks for gracing us with the world premiere of it's a Zabriskie Point.
I have to give you guys credit because I think even though we've gotten you know great reviews on this thing, it has frustrated programmers to no end. So I'm honored that you guys are showing it. Thank you.
Yeah, it was greeted with great enthusiasm, I have to say. Found the sweet spot here.